Chris with HobbyKing.com, and we've got some absolute beautiful FPV mini frames right here. Now these are great for what's called proximity FPV flying, meaning that you're flying low and slow within a park, or actually fast in a park, and flying between obstacles and around trees and things like this. Obviously they're great for just line of sight to aerobatics as well as that they're portable. We introduced the FPV 250 a few months back, and it's an ever popular frame, and we've got one based off of this same frame. It's proven itself to be darn near indestructible. Many users out there will vouch for that. It's just a fantastic frame, and we've got one based off of that. I'm going to save this one for last because it is my favorite. Now, first one we're going to talk about is our new little 230 frame right here. Now, first thing you're going to notice are these vibration thimbles or vibration dampening balls right in between the two frame. And what this is it creates what's called a clean and dirty plate. The nomenclature has been thrown around, but let me explain it real quick. What that means is that you have isolation between sources of vibration. In this case, it's going to be your motors and our props from the rest of your equipment, being your cameras, which could have a jello effect, as well as flight controller having some issues with the vibration as well. And so if we take a look, we can see this upper stack moves separate from this lower stack, which supports the motors itself. And that's basically, these are your dirty plates, and this is your clean plate because it is isolated from those sources of vibrations. So this frame is 230 millimeters, designed to work with 5-inch props. I've got a 5.3 right here. You can see fits on there nicely. And there's pretty much not much else to it. It has, of course, provisions on it for the flight controller up to 45 millimeter, but the standards kind of become the 30, 36 millimeter right on the center section of it itself. And it has really nice tall landing gear that allow the battery to be mounted underneath it as well as on top of it. Also, of course, on the front, we've got the FPV camera mount, which is removable. You just don't put it in between the two upper and lower stacks. And of course, there's lots of DIY that you can do to this frame as well to create different stacks, whether you mount this actually upside down or right side up. You can actually flip them over. Works really well. Another thing to note is the motor mounting on this. What's really cool is that it's got the 12 millimeter diagonal mounting as well as your standard 16 by 19. So pretty much the whole wider range, even the smaller ones, will bolt right onto this frame. Let's go ahead and grab some specs. I've got the scale on, that's zeroed out, and we're getting 185 grams. That's pretty light for what's called a clean and dirty frame. Obviously, frames that aren't clean and dirty only use one lower mount, and so those would be lighter. But for a clean and dirty, which definitely gives you a better video, especially if you're recording with a Mobius, this is just awesome. All right, one other thing to talk about is the construction. This is all composite construction, layered up board, so it's extremely strong, extremely durable. Definitely check this one out if you're into sport flying, fast flying. This is probably the mini for you. Next one we're going to talk about is kind of an interesting one. Same situation with the clean and dirty plate. You've got that right up in here. Nice huge frame stack on the bottom here, so you've got plenty of room for your accessories. It of course has the mount for your FPV camera up to 30 millimeter square on that, but it has one trick up its sleeve, is that the upper arms actually fold in and rotate, and makes for a nice little compact little pocket quad. So this could easily fit inside a transmitter bag with your transmitter, a set of batteries, and you could just easily take it out to the field or park and have a lot of fun with it. And if we take a look, when I sweep these arms and roll it over, it's actually machined recessed so that the bolts that come with it actually recess up and allow the arms to fold within there. And like I was mentioning before, it is clean and dirty. And what is cool about this upper stack, since there is two of them in here, that you can actually put your flight controller in between these uppers as well as your two ESCs front and rear, and leaving just this lower frame for your battery and your cameras itself. Really nice setup and an awesome one. So if you're looking for portability, this is definitely the one for you. Another thing to note, that this can only be used with 5-inch props because it is only a 200 millimeter. And if we grab some 2 5-inch props and put them center to center, you can see you've only got about 3/4 of an inch in between the two props right in there. So here we go. Here's the last one, and my personal favorite, and this is based off of our FPV 250. We had the 250L that we introduced a few weeks ago, which was kind of a mounting long frame that went on the top of it, and a lot of people DIY'd and put it underneath to create a low hung frame. Well, we actually introduced the FPV 250LH, which is low hung. Once again, vibration isolation, so it is a clean and dirty plate. I go ahead and just move that. You can take a look. It has 8 thimbles in there for the vibration itself. And what's really nice is that because this is on the bottom side and you've got all this room underneath here for mounting your batteries, your cameras, and different gear, you still have full access up here for your flight controller or your power distribution board. And another cool feature about this is that if you're running a bigger motor like our 2206 Baby Beast motor, that it still allows you to run a 6.5 inch prop, no problem, which is a more efficient, more powerful prop, especially for this particular motor. So this is just an absolute monster of a frame. If you want to fully load it with everything and the kitchen sink, throw yourself a really powerful set of motors like our 2206 Baby Beast motor on there. 6-inch props, you're just going to have an animal on your hands. That'll be a ton of fun. And that is the new FPV 250 LH low hung. Now, one other thing that I want to note with this particular one is that we took note on the mounting. Now, normally these frames handle 16 by 19 mounting, but a lot of the smaller motors out there use 12 millimeter diagonal for the mounting, and a lot of the people had to modify these frames in order to accept those. What we actually included in this kit with everything that you see here is a set of adapters, and those just push right on in. Screw in from the bottom to secure them, and it adapts it to your 12 millimeter mounting for the smaller motors. So it comes in this the bag, so if you want to run some other motors other than the 1704 or the 2206, you can go ahead and use those adapters, and it doesn't really add but just a few grams of weight here. I don't even know if it's going to register 1 gram per adapter. So that is a pretty awesome upgrade for that. So guys, we've pretty much got the range covered. We've got the standard 250, which is an indestructible frame. We've got the long frame kit. We've got the low hung with vibration, and we've got your portability, and we've got your sport. So we've got this this smaller quad range absolutely just covered. A couple other things that I want to point out: we've introduced the 2206, which is about the beastliest or strongest motor that you can get for these little 250 quads, especially on a 6-inch prop, which these can handle. We've got the 1704, which is your I wouldn't call it the economical motor, but it definitely doesn't produce as much as this, but this is perfect for the quad that's just flying line of sight, not necessarily loaded down with all FPV gear, but it has plenty of oomph behind it, so if that's what you're doing, it's a great performance motor and a value choice on that. We've also introduced a couple weeks ago the little mini power distribution board, which is absolutely phenomenal for these little quads. And it pops right in there, and it lets you just do a really nice clean install, cut your wires to length, and that's it. I mean, we've got everything set up for you in this range, including the Gen Fan props that we introduced a couple days ago. So get these while they're hot. As always, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and I'd love to see some video and feedback from you guys on some proximity flying with these frames. As always, we'll see you next time. You guys probably thought I forgot to put the other two on the scale. Actually, I totally did. So I'm adding it right now because I love giving you guys as much information as possible. So let's go ahead and put the low hung on the scale, and 185. So it's coming in at the same weight as this one, the carbon fiber one versus the plastic one. Same weight as far as those are concerned, and the little portable one, 146 grams on that one, and these are all clean and dirty, so that's actually pretty light for that application. As always, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We will see you next time.